Hello everyone, my name is Boris, bringing you another VOD review. Today we are jumping in game with DarthNub, who just won the Pro Circuit Cup, or the Bilgewater Cup, and we are jumping in the very last game, where he managed to close out the tournament in the checkmate, and the current state of the lobby is where we have 6 people in the check, meaning that if they win the game, they are crowned the champions of the cup. We are starting out here with the Demacia pair already, and we have a Sona pair that we can pick up from the shop. However, we also have a GP pair that we could consider. We also had a Kraken drop. However, holding on to a GP pair in the earlier stages of the game, like a 3-cost pair, is very, very expensive. And there is no guarantee that we're going to be able to capitalize of it, so therefore we're just going to hold on to one copy for now. This is a regular bait that sometimes people do, is by holding onto a 3-cost pair, it taxes your econ very heavily, and we do not have that many outs to play around. Now, coming up in augment selection, we already rolled past Rod, as generally it does not complete as an item right now, and a single component is going to be lower on tempo as something like Pandora's or Salvage Bin. We do get offered Slam in here, which is a great econ augment, especially in the current meta, where econ is very heavily enabling you to have a stable stage 4 and 5 and potentially chase a 3-star 4-cost. Pandora's again gives a combo opponents, however, we don't have a particularly clear direction, and it's going to be slightly slower on the tempo side as we're lowering our items, where Salvage Bin could provide that option right away. Scouting around to see what the other lobby is picking. Now we get offered Rise of Twilight and late game scaling. Late game scaling underpowered as an econ augment right now, particularly since we're not playing around 5 costs. We're going to just opt to go for Slam and able to pick up an Echo or 2 from a shop high rolling, and just going to slam BT on him right away. Can figure out what it goes on to. I would doubt if they're considering Echo reroll, as that's not a comp that potentially can win out. And best place we could use this BT would be to play something in the Slayers, but as we see, there's already a player with the Darken augment, the Darken bow, that would be playing into Slayer, so we do not want to consider contesting that. Therefore, let's see how we can transition this BT into something else. We could also potentially look to reforge at some other point. Now, generally going to be playing our strongest board and holding all the potential outs as well. Now, we could play this into Warwick, for example, as well. However, again, the only real condition of the Warwick comp would be to 3-star the Warwick, and which is doable if it's an unlock and you're uncontested, as it's a harder unlock to deny as well. Let's see, but however, we do high roll Emilio, therefore we're able to still show an Ixtal, and let's just checking the quest options we have. Kiana scoring 3 takedowns right now. We are generally trying to play for a win streak, however we would not want to transition items, and Kiana 1 is quite fragile. Having an empty bench at the end of combat would not us allow to hold on to something like a Vi pair, Jarvan pair, Jhin pair that could potentially spike our board, especially if we're trying to push for tempo on level to 5. Therefore, since we're playing from a win streak, we could just go for Ixtal field for 13-player combats, as Darth does here. This is best played from a win streak, as it's not the fastest on tempo for gathering the Ixtal shards, which is exactly what you would like. However, it is very good if you are playing from a win streak position and can complete a few more quests to go for a higher cash out and potential win out. As we can see, Marcel P here also has picked up Ixtal Expedition, so also playing for this high risk, high reward gameplay, which is going to be thematic for this kind of lobby where people are playing for the first place, and if you go second, third, fourth, it does not matter. Only thing you want to do right now is go first to close out the lobby. We are last pick on a carousel, therefore we are opting to pick up another sword, which you could transition into Giant Slayer right away if you wish to push tempo. We do not have particularly better options left out there for us. We would ideally have wanted this to transition into a Titans that would more naturally lead into some kind of thing like a Warwick. However, if we are playing for this Ixtal and if we're able to complete this 500 shard quest, we are already thinking about Brock as well. And I would assume we are, since we managed to pick up naturally. We are playing from win streak. We are able to also complete a 4 streak right here. Therefore, we're definitely going to be sticking around with this Ixtal, in my opinion, as it is the best way how we can win out. As again, as mentioned, Warwick has this only potential win out in the form of a 3-star 4-cost. Still trying to scout around, see the positioning. We can notice that we are positioning in a way where we are trying to max focus fire, and we have also positioned our strongest tank next to our Echo so that it takes the chunk of aggro from their corner carry. And we are able to complete a 5 streak this way. We are still holding on to this Jinx and Y as a potential way to play for Warwick, so staying very open, showing how important in this patch when you are playing for tempo also especially is to try to play for strongest board. Also this is Vi is just going to be immensely better as a tank, sorry, as a, not, she's a fighter, as a duo for the defenders. Able to pick up Piana too as well, and we do have a steadfast drop that we could consider slamming right away if we are trying to play for max. Able to slot in zone through the Mundo. It's going to be better than the Jinx, hence we opted to sell it. So we are definitely fully committing now to this, playing for the Brock. Going to go just wide open with our component slams. Queuing to quite strong Demacia board with the Seraphim staff as well. However, this Sona might not have enough damage to take out that, yeah. We have the Bloodthirst that is going to give us the sustain necessary from that Sona. And we're able to go on the 6th streak, so very prime positioned, especially by playing this kind of quest. Next augment selection. Celestial Blessing, generally great in melee comps. Could give us some less survivability on the Brock. I'm just not sure if this is going to be... It's quite good for the current board, but if we are playing some backliners, the value is going to be lost. Replication would give us more items. However, it is a delayed spike, but items are the kings of tempo. And plot armor could provide that as a possibility as well. However, again, generally better into kind of melee carry comp. Feed of Flames is also a nice option for this sort. It could get some more Omnivamp on our team. However, okay, we do opt to go for Feed of Flames. Advanced Loan, not going to be the tempo we're looking for. We already have an Econ augment. This just gives us an item and a little bit of extra combat power, exactly what we're looking for right now. We do have a Yanaran shop, however, we do not have particular items for it. Scouting in a way again to make sure that we are giving the Echo the potential to wrap on their backlines and it is protected. As you can see, when this other side tank died, the focus already went on the Echo. Therefore, this is the way we toss around. This is the fragile part of the melee carries. If your weak side tank or the tank closest to your carry dies, your melee carry gets instant aggro, especially if they have wrapped a little bit closer into the backline. And we do drop around to the Ionia board, seeing that there's a Bilgewater player as well. Which I believe they had a Bilgewater emblem. Queuing into the Slayers player, they are on Kiana 1, so should be at a... It's a closer fight than I thought it would have been. This Kiana 1's certainly putting in quite a lot of work. However, we're able to pick up a win here. We're just trying to preserve as much as HP we can, so we can then later on use this HP for the potential higher cash out. As 500 cash out is not strong enough for you to win the game alone. And generally, we do wish to also chase any kind of opportunity in the form of extra resources, particularly items and econ from the higher cash outs. Able to pick up another sword here. Now, we could be aggressive with our removers. Okay, we're going to opt, going to be aggressive with removers. Going to opt to slam IE, which is one of the best Brock's items, particularly since Brock strikes the whole board. Because this Bilgewater player from Travis, they have 2 Bilgewater emblems, so if they're able to get to level 10, then it's game over, as they're farming infinite gold from the Bilgewater, and even though it has been nerfed quite a few times, it's quite strong, but they're able to take them out. So any kind of way that we can apply this pressure on the lobby, particularly on Travis right now, from the rest of the lobby, to prevent them from being able to sack and go level 10 is going to be a way to stop them. Now we can see Marcel, who's also on our Ixtal line, is quite low on HP. So we'll have to see how they go about it. Able to be on the weaker side again, however this time Echo hadn't trapped, therefore they didn't get full aggro, but Quintania's Seraphine with double Archangels is able to take us down. Expected that the Echo will fall off as our own. This is basically our only upgrade. The Kiana 2 is doing some work, but not enough. We are particularly lacking on the frontline department right now. Able to pick up a Vi 2 and We are opting to slam a stone plate right here. On a Vi, it's particularly great to be informed to complete the Scarlet unlock. And we are very aggressive with our removers. To be able to just, yeah, we have this is our upgraded frontline unit. It's going to be able to stall long enough. And, well, maybe not against the ramping Yunara. However, she has put in quite a lot of work. Minimizes our HP losses. Echo is able to tear out through their weaker side, as the Pokegame has already leveled to 8 and sent it down quite low. On our last augment option, we already saw that we opted to roll past malicious monetization. Our plan is not to spike right now, therefore we're not going to capitalize on this augment. Heroic grab bag, we don't have a particular use of the dupes, and if we are going for pure gold, then 3 threes is the best option you can see currently. As it's just in the form of raw gold is very, very much. Crash Test Dummy is not playing into it. Spirit Link is not going to provide us exact value right now. And some of the Ixtal quests require you, for example, like best thing we could see after we are cashing out this field 13 rounds is buy XP. Therefore, I would assume we're just going to opt to go for 3 threes. Yes, we do so. Could also give us some potential board strength upgrades. Do pick up a Jinx and a Skarner from the unlock that we can field. Now, do we opt to... Well, we would have to waste more removers to be able to slot items on this Jinx to unlock Warwick. And I do not believe that is something that we wish to do right now. Now, Marcel has fully sent it down already. However, they do not seem to have the Brock yet. They are playing around Seraphine too, and it looks like the cash out was a Radiant Death Cap. So we toss around here. Now, we should have our next quest coming up. Soonly. So we do Slozer down here. And now we are in a decent spot if we do get something like a buy an XP quest. We still are holding on to this gold in case we do see the buy XP quest. Otherwise, if we are able, if we have spent our gold, it's a dead quest for us, and they are generally the best ones to generate pure shards per turn value. Also, we opted to still maintain the items on the Vi, as we are considering her to be, even though a fighter, a stronger potential tank as a Skarner 1 right now. And we generally wish to keep the Vi on the board, and our remover situation is quite weak at the moment. Therefore, we do not want to just open sell her, as we do have a better resemblance of a order replacement to go right now. Pick up a belt that's... We are just slotting on Mundo that we are assuming is not going to go on our final board. See that there... The lobby has already spiked considerably, therefore we are playing for that loss. Could we be considering perhaps going fast 9? I'm not exactly sure. Now, Travis has regained some stability, however, they have had to send it down all the way to 0 on level 8, therefore their options to go to level 9 are very limited, sitting on 5 MFs, therefore they could be trying to see, especially with that max build augment, to go for a MF3 from the Bilgewater shops as well. Alright, we're going to opt to remove our items from the Vi finally. We haven't found a replacement of her, and we do wish to keep the zone and for that Echo. However, the AD Echo is not going to be enough, as we are queuing into upgraded 2-star 4 costs. Unfortunately unable to kill anything, so we have taken heavy losses. We are already down to 13 HP, so we are basically 1 life right now. Now, this is the big decision. We slotted in our Ixtal late, and now we are at 500. Every instinct to me would be telling to cash out, however, that is not particularly the way we can win. Fielding a 2-star Nico, we are still on Nico 1. Nico surviving 15 seconds, we would have to perhaps trap her in a way. And Brock surviving 5-player combats. It's also going to be quite tricky with the Brock 1, and we don't have a way to guarantee Brock 2 right now. I'm honestly unsure what the best decision is at this spot, so let's see what DarthNub opts to do so. Alright, so we are going for Nico surviving 15 seconds. Now, this does not work in a PvE round. That's an important thing to note, as some of the quests can be completed during PvE rounds, particularly the quests that count for round timers, something like having an empty item bench or unit bench. However, this one is not. We are able to just full send it to level 9, pick up a Annie 2 that we could definitely opt to play around, as it provides a stable front line for us, and we also pick up the Skarner 2. And we are fighting 5 Ixtal to be able to heal up a little bit. At least the 2 lives would be preferable to us. Where this Annie 2 should now be quite suitably strong for us. We have the front line to support her being able to ramp. We unfortunately only have one mana item in form of a Shojin. But as long as we are able to stall long enough with the extra support from Brock, we are doing quite wide damage. And Nico survived our 15-second player combat. 15 seconds, sorry, in player combat, as we opted to field her in the back row. Therefore, coming on the next quest, now we are 540, which has not improved our cash out at all. Generally, we'll be looking to go for something like a 650. Those are the cash outs that can potentially win the game for you. Now, having no items on your bench for 3 rounds is something that we could do, but it requires us to live for 3 rounds. Ixtal champion reaching 450 armor, that's doable right away with Skarner. We have the stone plate, so I would assume that's the best, and winning 2-player combats when you're surviving is just almost impossible to complete. Therefore, yeah, we're going to just go for having the armor on our unit. Still opting to roll our board. We have opted to drop out of 5 Ixtal as well. Therefore, we are not healing anymore. Now, is this Annie enough damage for us? I believe it should be, as yeah, Brock has managed to survive, and Annie has once she gets to that rampart, is going to be particularly strong. We also have afforded for Arcanist for her. Next quest, killing 20 enemies seems to be or blocking 9,000 damage. I believe this Skarner could definitely block 9,000 damage. It's the only itemized frontline unit for us. The Tibers is completely on that left side kept as well, so he's going to be taking aggro of one corner carries. However, the Skarner taking the aggro from everyone else should be able to do it. Do a quick check of how much he has blocked. And I believe this would be the safest choice, and so does Darth. Trying to still roll down to see if we can pick up Brock 2, able to only pick up a pair right now. Now, their main carries are on the side of our Skarner, which is great for us. This definitely should lead to Skarner being able to block that extra damage. Especially since we have the blast shields as well, that provides that extra effective HP on him, ensuring that he is able to survive to do so. Now, looking for a potential third Annie item, going to go for a Adaptive Helm, provides that extra mana regen for her, should work wonders. Now, we are at 620, so we definitely want to go for another cash out. Next quest, fielding a 2-star Skarner combat, completable next round. Exactly what we want. We do not want to gamble anymore afterwards, so we're just going to do it. So a little bit lucky on the quest that we can complete right away, and did not get any of the quest requiring us to spend resources. We are on the weaker side, yeah, but the neat trick that Darth identifies to do here is to remove our items as the opponents were split and able to toss them on the Tibers right there, and able to stall it long enough from the Slayer board that generally wants to mow you down as fast as possible and get the Annie ramp going. Now we are cashing out for sure. Yeah, we have gotten to 60th cash out. We're able to cash out the Radiant Rageblade, which is not particularly great for Annie. And we're out of removers, therefore this has to go on something like a Senna. Able to also pick up a Seraphine too, and that we slotted with an extra Fawn, and slot in the Shyvana general extra durability on our whole team. Now fighting a less Seraphine board with the Seraphim staff on. Quite scary, however, we have just this extra unit power. We have the ores growling. Picking whatever quest does not matter at this point anymore. We're only chasing potentially Brock 2 right now, or a Senna 2. And since we are able to take down this board from Quintanilla, we have the extra unit power, so we have to just scout around to make sure that there are no 3-star forecasts coming in, and it looks like the benches are mostly empty, so we should be good on that department. We are denying Seraphines on our own as well, and both players are playing Lysandra on their board, so yeah, we should be fine on this department. Now the non-Luxes or Garens coming in. Unfortunately, did not get the swap on the Tibbers in the last second to be able to get on their carry side. However, with the extra units on our board, we have enough to stall for Annie, and we are fighting a ghost board. Now, I believe we are in a prime position to close out this lobby. Also pick up a Senna too. Have the extra form of damage coming in as well. Unfortunately, still on Brock 1, but just with the extra units, I believe we have. No one has managed to reach a higher cap. Again, on the weaker side, on the ghost fights. Now, does this take Michael down? I believe no. This should definitely come to one more round. However, we saw that they lost to our ghost already. Able to cash out a quest that gives us extra gold. I did not even notice which quest we picked up. Just going to pick up Shyvana too. We're saying we need to win now. Do whatever is possible. And I believe this is the way Darth has done it, by very good recognition that 500 is not going to be enough. We need to push more. We need to get this 650, get the double phones, get the extra wars on our board, and be strong enough to close out the game from this Annie to recognition that she's going to be our carry. Absolute wonderful line recognition and ability to flex your board in these crucial moments. Nerves of steel. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you'll learn something new just like I did, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.